The great chamber floated in the darkness between stars. It was old, older than most planets. 12 species had built it together thousands of years ago, and now their leaders sat in a circle, watching a small blue world spin slowly on a giant screen. Earth. The humans called it Earth. Ambassador Velith pressed her glass-like fingers together. Her body was made of living crystal, and light moved through her like water. She had watched Earth for 200 years. She had seen humans discover fire. She had seen them build cities. She had seen them kill each other in wars that made no sense. And now, she watched them reach for the stars. They learned too fast, she said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. No species should advance this quickly. It is not natural. High Commander Torath made a deep sound in his throat. He was massive, covered in thick gray skin and standing 3 meters tall. His people had ruled 1,000 worlds before humans learned to walk upright. They are children, he said. Dangerous children, perhaps, but children. They fight among themselves. They poison their own air. They will destroy themselves before they become a real problem. The other council members nodded. This was the common belief. Humans were interesting to watch, like animals in a cage. But they were not important. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Young Counselor Mira sat quietly in her seat. She was new to the council, chosen to represent the Sylvan Accord only 50 years ago. Her skin was pale green, and leaves grew from her head like hair. Unlike the others, she felt something strange when she looked at Earth. Not fear exactly, more like curiosity, wonder. They love, she said softly. I have watched them. They love each other deeply. They create art, music, stories. They are not just destroyers. Torath laughed. It was not a kind sound. Love does not win wars, young one. Power wins wars, and humans have no power. Not compared to us. The council moved on to other matters. Trade routes, border disputes, the usual business of running a galaxy. Earth faded to the background. Just another primitive world among millions. No. One noticed the darkness gathering at the edge of the solar system. The Vexari had been traveling for 300 years. Their home world was long dead, stripped of all life and resources. Now they moved from system to system, taking what they needed and leaving nothing behind. They had no art, no music, no love. They had only hunger. Their fleet emerged from fold space like shadows taking form. 300 ships, each one black as empty space. The largest was 5 kilometers long, covered in weapons that could crack a planet in half. They had destroyed civilizations older than Earth. They had eaten worlds that thought themselves invincible. Earth would be easy. Earth would be fast. Earth would feed them for another 100 years. On the apex station, an alarm began to sound. Velith turned to the screen, and her crystal body went cold. She knew those ships. Everyone knew those ships. The Vexari had destroyed her sister colony 2,000 years ago. She still remembered the screams. No, she whispered. No. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had not agreed on anything in centuries now shared the same feeling of pure terror. The Vexari were here. The Vexari were going to Earth. And there was nothing anyone could do. Mira stood up. We must warn them. The humans. We must tell them what is coming. There is no time, Velith said. Her voice was shaking. The Vexari will reach Earth in 4 hours. Even if we could send a message, what would humans do? They have no real fleet. No shields. No weapons that could scratch those ships. We could fight, Mira insisted. We could send our own ships to help. Torath shook his massive head. Our nearest fleet is 2 weeks away, and even if they were closer. The Vexari destroyed the Corinth Armada. 10,000 ships, gone in a single day. We have nothing that can stop them. The council fell silent. On the screen, Earth continued to spin. Blue and green and beautiful. 7 billion people living their lives, falling in love, raising children, dreaming of the future. They had no idea that death was coming. On Earth, in the city of Seoul, a young woman named Yuna sat at her computer in the Space Defense Center. It was late at night. She was tired. She wanted to go home and sleep. But something on her screen made her stop. 300 objects had appeared at the edge of the solar system. They were moving fast. Too fast. And they were heading straight for Earth. Yuna checked her readings. She checked them again. Her hands began to shake. This was not a mistake. This was not a drill. Something was coming. Something big. She picked up her phone and called her commander. An old soldier named Taiho answered on the second ring. "Commander," Yuna said. Her voice was calm. She would not let it shake. "We have a problem." "A big problem? What kind of problem?" Yuna looked at her screen. 300 ships, unknown origin, unknown weapons, unknown intentions. But she could guess. In all the movies, in all the stories, when aliens came to Earth, they were never friendly. "Sir," she said, "I think we are about to be invaded." Above Earth, in the darkness of space, the Vexari fleet moved closer. They had seen the small planet on their sensors. They had counted its people. They had calculated how long the feeding would take. They expected no resistance. They expected easy prey. They were wrong. Commander Taiho had been a soldier for 22 years. He had trained for many things. He had trained to fight other countries. He had trained to stop asteroids. He had even trained for first contact with aliens. Though he never really believed it would happen. Now, he stood in the Seoul Space Defense Center, looking at a screen that showed 300 alien warships heading toward his planet. His hands were steady. His voice was calm. Inside, he was terrified. "Show me everything," he said to Yuna. She pulled up the data. The ships were huge. The smallest was bigger than a football stadium. The largest was 5 kilometers long. They moved at speeds that human science said were impossible. And they were 4 hours away. "We have contacted every government on Earth," Yuna said. "Emergency meetings are happening now." "But Commander," she paused. "I do not think meetings will help us." Taiho nodded slowly. He knew she was right. What could meetings do against those ships? What could words do against weapons that could destroy cities? His phone rang. It was the president. Then the prime minister. Then generals from America, China, Russia, Europe. Everyone was scared. Everyone wanted answers. Taiho had none to give. In the council chamber, the 12 species watched Earth scramble. They saw the video conferences. They saw the panic. They saw humans trying to organize a defense against an enemy they could not defeat. Myra felt her heart breaking. "They're so brave," she said. "Look at them. They know they cannot win. But they are still trying." Velith shook her crystal head. "It is not bravery. It is denial. They do not understand what is coming. When the Vexari arrive, the humans will learn. And then they will break." "Perhaps," Myra said quietly. But she did not believe it. On Earth, Yuna worked without rest. She analyzed the alien ships. She studied their movements. She ran calculations over and over, looking for any weakness, any chance, any hope. She found nothing. "Their shields are too strong," she told Taiho. "Nuclear weapons will not work. Missiles will not work. Nothing we can touch them." Taiho closed his eyes. He thought about his daughter. She was 8 years old. She was at home with her mother, probably sleeping. She did not know that monsters were coming. He wanted to call her. He wanted to hear her voice one more time, but there was no time. There was never enough time. "There must be something," he said. "Think, Yuna. What do we have that could hurt them?" Yuna thought. She thought about every weapon, every technology, every experiment that humanity had ever created. Most were useless. Some were too weak. But one, the Quantum Resonance Project, she said slowly. Dr. Minji's team in Bizen. They've been working on something. It is experimental, untested, but in theory, it could create a feedback loop in any energy system. It could overload their shields from the inside. In theory, Taiho repeated. Yes, in theory. Has it ever been tested? On small things. Generators. Engines. Never on anything this big. Taiho looked at the screen. 3 hours and 40 minutes until the ships arrived. 3 hours and 40 minutes until everyone he loved was dead. What choice did they have? Call Dr. Minji, he said. Tell her we need a miracle. In Bizen, Dr. Minji was already awake. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had spent 15 years building the quantum resonance device. 15 years of failures and small successes. 15 years of people telling her it was impossible. Now the world needed her impossible thing to work. It is not ready, she told Taiho over the video call. We have not tested it properly. I do not know if it will work. Doctor, Taiho said, in 3 hours. Those ships will destroy every city on Earth. If your device has even a small chance of working, we have to try. Minji was silent for a long moment. Then she nodded. There is a problem. The device must be delivered inside their shield. Someone will have to fly it there. Get close to their main ship. And then what? And then activate it. The explosion will be big, very big. The pilot will not survive. Taiho felt cold. A suicide mission. Someone would have to die to give Earth a chance. But who would volunteer for something like that? The answer came from the back of the room. I will do it. Everyone turned. A young pilot named Jinho stood near the door. He was 26 years old, with short black hair and a calm face. He was supposed to transfer to the Mars colony next month. He had his whole life ahead of him. Son, Taiho began. Commander, I am the best pilot in the program. You know this. Everyone knows this. If anyone can get that device to the enemy ship, it is me. You will die. Jinho smiled. It was a sad smile, but also peaceful. If I do nothing, I will die anyway. We all will. At least this way, my death might mean something. The room was quiet. Yuna looked at Jinho. She had known him since the academy. They had trained together, laughed together, shared meals and dreams. She had never told him how she felt. Now she never would. Are you sure? She asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. Jinho looked at her. In his eyes, she saw everything he wanted to say, but could not. All the words they had never spoken. All the time they would never have. I am sure, he said. Taiho straightened his back. There was no time for tears. No time for goodbyes. They had work to do. Then let us build you a ship, he said. Dr. Minji worked faster than she had ever worked in her life. Her hands moved over the quantum resonance device, checking every wire, every connection, every piece of the machine that might save the world. It is not perfect, she muttered to herself. It is not ready, but it will have to be enough. Around her, engineers and scientists ran back and forth. They were building a ship, not a warship. Humans did not have warships. They were building a small transport vessel, no bigger than a bus, and filling it with every piece of experimental technology they could find. Shields that had never been tested. Engines that pushed the limits of physics. And at the heart of it all, Minji's device. Their one hope. Their only weapon. Jinho stood in the corner, watching them work. He was calm. Too calm, some thought. But inside, his mind was racing. He was thinking about his mother. She lived in a small town outside Seoul. She made the best soup in the world. He had promised to visit her next month. Now, he never would. He was thinking about Yuna, her smile, her laugh. The way she looked at the stars was so much wonder. He wished he had told her how he felt. He wished he had more time. But wishes did not stop alien fleets. Only action did. The ship is ready, someone announced. Jinho walked over. The vessel was small and ugly, covered in metal plates and wires that stuck out at strange angles. It looked like it had been built by children. But it was his ship now. His weapon. His grave. "We are calling it Hanyul," Taiho said, walking up beside him. "It means sky in Korean." "Hanyul," Jinho repeated. He liked the name. He liked the idea of becoming part of the sky. Dr. Minji approached with a tablet. Her face was serious. "Let me explain how this works. The device creates a feedback loop in energy systems. When you activate it near the enemy flagship, it will overload their power core. The explosion will spread through their fleet. Their ships are connected by an energy network. If one falls, they all fall. And if the device does not work," Minji paused, "then you will die for nothing. And so will everyone else." Jinho nodded. He appreciated her honesty. He was tired of people pretending everything would be okay. Nothing was okay. The world was about to end. The only question was whether he could stop it. In the council chamber, the 12 species watched the humans prepare their desperate plan. They saw the tiny ship. They saw the young pilot. They saw a species facing extinction with nothing but courage and hope. Torith laughed. One ship against 300. One pilot against the Vexari. This is not bravery. This is stupidity, is it? Myra asked. Or is it something we have forgotten how to do? What do you mean? Myra turned to face the High Commander. Her green eyes were bright with something he did not understand. When was the last time any of us risked everything for our people? When was the last time we stood against impossible odds and refused to surrender? We are old, Torith. We are careful. We calculate risks and avoid danger. But these humans... She looked at the screen. They do not know how to give up. They do not know how to accept defeat. Even when they should. Torith had no answer. On Earth, Yuna found Jinho alone in a quiet room. He was looking out the window at the stars. The enemy fleet was out there somewhere, getting closer with every second. You do not have to do this, she said, double quotes. Yes, I do. Someone else could fly the ship. Someone older. Someone without what? Jinho turned to face her. Without a future? We all have futures, Yuna. Or we did. Now we have nothing unless someone stops those ships. And I am the best pilot we have. You know this is true. Yuna felt tears building in her eyes. She had promised herself she would not cry. She had promised herself she would be strong. But standing here, looking at this man she had loved in secret for so long, she could not hold back. I never told you, she said. I never told you how I feel about you. I never told you. Jinho stepped closer. He took her hands in his. They were warm, strong, alive. I know, he said softly. I always knew. And I felt the same way. I was just too scared to say it. Stupid, right? I can fly into an alien fleet, but I could not tell a girl how I felt. Yuna laughed through her tears. We are both stupid. Yes, we are. They stood together in the quiet room. Outside, the world was ending. Sirens were starting to sound. People were running to shelters. Prayers were being whispered in 1,000 languages. But in that moment, there was only the two of them. Only this one perfect moment before everything changed. When this is over, Jinho said. Name something after me. Something cool. Not a library. Yuna smiled. I will name a star after you. The brightest one I can find. Promise? I promise. Jinho leaned in and kissed her. It was their first kiss. It was also their last. When they pulled apart, he was smiling, peaceful, ready. I have to go now, he said. I know. He walked to the door. At the last moment, he turned back. Yuna, when you look at that star, remember me. Remember that I loved you. And remember that I did not die afraid. I died fighting. For you. For everyone. Then he was gone. Yuna stood alone in the quiet room. Through the window, she could see the stars. Somewhere out there, 300 ships were coming to destroy everything she loved, and one man was going to stop them. Jinho climbed into the cockpit of the Hanyul. It was small, cramped. The seat was uncomfortable, and the controls were rough. But it was his ship now. His wings. His weapon. He ran through the final checks. Engines working. Shields at full power. The quantum resonance device was humming softly behind him, waiting to be used. Waiting to end everything. His radio crackled with voices. People from around the world had learned his name. They were calling to wish him luck, to thank him, to beg him to succeed. Presidents, generals, ordinary people who had somehow found the frequency. Children, old men, mothers holding their babies. God bless you, someone said. We believe in you, said another. Save us. Please save us. Jinho closed his eyes. The weight of 7 billion lives pressed down on him. He had never asked to be a hero. He had never wanted to save the world. He just wanted to fly, to see the stars, to live a normal life. But life was never normal, and heroes were not born. They were made. By moments like this, by choices like his. He muted all the channels except one. Yuna, he said. Are you there? I am here. Her voice was soft but strong. I will be here until the end. Good. Talk to me. I want to hear your voice. The Hanyul launched from Earth. Jinho felt the pressure of acceleration push him into his seat. Outside his window, the blue planet grew smaller and smaller. So beautiful. So fragile. So worth saving. In the council chamber, the 12 species watched in silence. They saw the tiny human ship rising toward the Vesari fleet. They saw one pilot against 300 warships. They saw something that should have been impossible. He is actually going, Mira whispered. He is really doing it. He will die in seconds, Torith said. The Vesari will destroy him before he gets close. Vela said nothing. She was watching the small ship on the screen. Watching and wondering. What kind of species produce beings like this? What kind of people threw themselves at death without hesitation? The Vesari fleet detected the Hanyul. It was so small they almost missed it. Just a dot on their sensors. A fly coming toward a dragon. The Vesari commander made a sound like grinding metal. It was their version of laughter. One ship, he said. The humans send one ship to fight us. How amusing. Kill it. Thousands of weapons turned toward the Hanyul. Energy beams. Missiles. Things that had no name in human language. All of them aimed at one small ship carrying one brave pilot. Jinho saw them coming on his screen. Red lines everywhere. Death coming from every direction. Here we go, he muttered. He flew. Not like a normal pilot. Not like anything the council had ever seen. He moved through the beams like water through fingers. He rolled and twisted and dove, using the enemy's own weapons to block each other. Missiles exploded behind him. Energy blasts missed by meters. He was dancing with death, and death could not catch him. Impossible, Torith breathed. No, Myra said. Her eyes were wide. Tears were rolling down her green cheeks. Not impossible, human. On Earth, Yuna watched her screen. She saw every close call, every near miss, every moment when Jinho should have died but did not. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break. "You are doing it," she said into the radio. "You are actually doing it. Keep going. You are almost there." "I am trying," Jinho said. His voice was strained. The ship was shaking. Warning lights were flashing everywhere. "They hit my left engine. Shields are failing. But I am still flying. I am still alive." The Vexari flagship grew larger in his window. 5 kilometers of black metal, covered in weapons. The heart of the enemy fleet. If he could reach it. If he could get inside its shields. If the device worked out, so many ifs. So many chances for failure. But Jinho did not think about failure. He only thought about Yuna, about the stars, about the world he was trying to save. The Vexari commander was not laughing anymore. He was watching this tiny human ship destroy his best weapons with nothing but skill and courage. He was feeling something he had not felt in 1,000 years. Fear. "Kill him," the commander ordered. "All weapons. Everything we have. Kill him." The sky filled with fire. More weapons than Jinho could count. More death than anyone should face. His ship was hit again and again. Pieces broke off. Systems failed. The cockpit filled with smoke and the smell of burning metal. But he kept flying. He kept going. Because he had promised. Because Yuna was listening. Because 7 billion people were counting on him. The flagship shield was right in front of him. A wall of energy that nothing should be able to cross. But the Haniel was small, fast, and Jinho was the best pilot humanity had ever produced. He found the gap. A tiny weakness in the shield. A space no bigger than his ship dot. He flew through it. "I am in," he said. His voice was calm now, peaceful. "I made it. I am inside their shield." In the council chamber, no one breathed. On Earth, Yuna closed her eyes and whispered, "I love you." Jinho heard her. He smiled. He looked at the massive ship in front of him. So big, so powerful, so about to die. "For Earth," he said. "For everyone. For you." He pressed the button. The quantum resonance device activated. Energy surged through the Haniel, into the Vexari flagship, into every connected ship in the fleet. For one perfect moment, everything was light. Then, everything was fire. The explosion was brighter than the sun. People on Earth stopped and looked up. They saw a new star being born in the darkness. A star made of fire and sacrifice and love dotted lasted for 3 seconds. 3 seconds that changed everything. When the light faded, the Vexari fleet was gone. 300 ships, thousands of weapons, 10,000 years of terror. All of it turned to ash and dust, floating in the empty space where death had been waiting. In the Seoul Space Defense Center, Yuna stared at her screen. Her instruments showed nothing. No enemy ships, no weapons, no threat, just debris. Just silence. Just victory. She tried to speak. No words came. She tried to stand. Her legs would not work. She sat in her chair and stared at the screen, and slowly, very slowly, she began to understand. They had won. Earth was saved. Jinho had done it. Jinho was gone. The tears came then. Not quiet tears. Not gentle tears. These were the tears of a broken heart. The tears of a love that would never be. Yuna put her head on her desk and cried like she had never cried before. Around her, the center erupted in celebration. People were cheering, hugging. Some were crying too. Commander Taiho stood very still, looking at the screen, feeling old and tired and grateful all at once. "He did it," someone said. "He saved us," said another. "He saved everyone." Across the world, The news spread like fire. The alien fleet was destroyed. Earth was safe. A young pilot named Jinho had given his life to save 7 billion people. Churches rang their bells. Mosques and temples opened their doors. People poured into the streets, laughing and crying and holding each other. In a small town outside Seoul, an old woman sat in her kitchen. She had just heard the news. Her son was a hero. Her son had saved the world. Her son would never come home. She picked up a photograph. Jinho as a baby. Jinho on his first day of school. Jinho in his pilot uniform, smiling at the camera like the world was full of wonders. "My boy," she whispered. "My beautiful boy." In the council chamber, the 12 species sat in absolute silence. No one moved. No one spoke. They had watched the impossible happen. They had seen one human do what armies could not do. Myra was the first to find her voice. "We were wrong," she said. "We were so wrong about them." "Yes," Velith agreed. Her crystal body was trembling. "We thought they were children, primitives, but they are something else entirely." "What?" Toreth asked. His voice was quiet now. "Humble. What are they?" Myra looked at Earth on the screen. The small blue world that had just defeated the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. "They are survivors," she said. "They are fighters. They are dreamers who refuse to give up, even when they should. They are extraordinary." Toreth nodded slowly. In 10,000 years, he had never felt so small, so foolish. He had looked at humans and seen weakness. He had not seen their strength. He had not seen their heart. "We must contact them," Velith said. "Immediately, formally. We must welcome them to the galactic community. Before someone else tries to harm them. Before anyone else makes our mistake." "Agreed," said every voice in the chamber. 1 week later, the first alien ambassadors arrived on Earth. They came with gifts, with technology, with apologies for watching and doing nothing. They came with open hands and open hearts, ready to meet the species that had amazed them. Yuna was there to greet them. She wore her military uniform. Her eyes were red from days of crying, but her back was straight and her voice was strong. She was not just a lieutenant anymore. She was a symbol, a reminder of what humanity could do. "Welcome to Earth," she said. "We are glad you are here." Ambassador Velith bowed her crystal head. "We are honored to meet you, and we are sorry. We should have helped. We should have warned you. We did nothing, and your people paid the price." "One person paid the price," Yuna said. "His name was Jinho. Remember it." "We will," Velith promised. "The galaxy will remember." 1 year passed, then another. Earth changed. Humans learned about the wider universe. They discovered they were not alone. They built new ships, new stations, new dreams. And on a hill outside Seoul, they built an observatory. The Jinho Observatory. A place to watch the stars. A place to remember. Yuna stood at the opening ceremony. She was Lieutenant Colonel Park Yuna now. Beside her stood Dr. Minji, who had become one of the most famous scientists in history. Behind them stood leaders from 12 different species, all come to honor a human hero. He was not special, Yuna said in her speech. Not at first. He was just a pilot. Just a man. He liked bad jokes and good food. He was scared of spiders. He never told people how he felt until it was too late. She paused. The crowd was silent. But when the moment came, he did not run. He did not hide. He flew into the darkness and became the light that saved us all. That is what humans do. That is who we are. We fall. We fail. We make mistakes. But when it matters most, we rise. She looked up at the sky, at the stars, at one star in particular. A small star, not very bright, in a quiet corner of the galaxy. The star named Jinho. He is up there now, she said. Watching us, waiting for us. And one day, When we are ready, we will reach him. We will touch his star, and we will tell him thank you." The ceremony ended. The crowds left. Night fell over the observatory, but Una stayed. She stood alone on the hill, looking up at the sky. "I miss you," she whispered to the stars. "Every day, I miss you, but I keep my promise. I look at your star every night, and I remember." Above her, the star named Jinho twinkled in the darkness. Small, quiet, eternal. And somewhere, somehow, Una knew he was smiling.